and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll begin with our activity reports. I don't have too much to discuss. A number of us from the council attended a meeting last week at the school with Representative Damuth and Senator Howe, along with Superintendent Bullard, to talk about the benzene issues facing our water supply and talk to them about getting some additional funding for the VOC plant. And I think that meeting went pretty well. We have some follow-up action items to discuss and things like that. We'll keep you posted as it goes, but right now that issue seems to be fine. The inaugural police and fire meeting is tomorrow night. We'll let you know how that goes. It'll come next year. Otherwise, that's it for meetings that I attended. I did, however, get an email that I feel compelled to share. And I will tell you it's 5 pages long, but I'm only going to read the first one. It is from Centricare. Dear community leader, we are writing to you as healthcare professionals working on the front lines of healthcare. We are exhausted, physically and emotionally. Yet if certain actions are taken, we see hope in one day emerging from this pandemic. We are writing to strongly encourage you to use your influence and authority in the form of resolutions or policies that support masking, vaccination, boosters, social distancing, and at-home quick testing services in your area. Your voice is respected and powerful. We now have sufficient and clear data that show COVID's effects: death, disability, mental health, illness, and public civility erosion. Community members have entrusted you with the privilege and responsibility to keep them safe, and the science-based actions listed above are critical tools for you to do so. COVID cases in our communities are higher than ever. Hospitals across the state are full of COVID patients, the vast majority of whom are unvaccinated. This means that people experiencing normal emergencies like heart attacks and car accidents cannot be treated as quickly as they deserve or would have been pre-COVID. Intensive care units are full. Patients with COVID stay weeks in the hospital, occupying ICU beds that are desperately needed by others. Babies are being born in ICUs because the mothers are too sick with COVID to move to the birthing unit. Children are hospitalized at rates never seen before. We educate our children to be leaders and good citizens of their communities. We raise them to evaluate risk and benefits and believe in science. We teach them not to go along with the loudest or most popular, but to make difficult decisions. We are asking you to do the same. Please look at the science. Please trust your local healthcare experts. You have trusted us for years to provide accurate public health guidance to the community. Please do so now also. We take our responsibility as clinicians seriously and will not let you down. Lives of our friends and family, quite literally, depend on us as caregivers, and you as a community leader, to use science to guide us through this pandemic. In your role, you are in a unique position to model excellent behavior and to encourage good public health strategies. Your communities listen to you. Please talk with them. Whatever you can do, pass a resolution, make public statements, post clear messages on your website, and more, all will make a difference. At this critical time, inaction risks causing harm to the people we both care about deeply. Taking the actions we've suggested may feel uncomfortable, but they will save lives. Thank you for your time. That was sent to me on Wednesday, December 22nd, signed by 1, 2, 3, 4 pages of physicians with Centricare. So there's nothing that we have COVID related on our agenda tonight, but I wanted to share that. If anybody would like a copy of the email, it is there if anybody wants to read it. This is not a joke. It's something we all need to take seriously, and we need to encourage everyone in our community to do the same. So, that's what I have. Mr. Hertzberg.
Absolutely nothing, just the holiday.
Okay. Ms. Beck?
I don't have anything official either.
Okay, Ms. Slaney?
I was at the same meeting as you with Senator Howell and Representative Demuse.
I have nothing to report.
All right.
However, if you're looking for material to write in your column, respond to the email.
Yeah. So, moving on to our department head reports, Mr. Morgan.
Okay, thank you. First of all, the work at the library roof has been completed. Snow removal, if anybody's got any issues that we may have missed on snow, please let me know. Otherwise, I remind residents to please clean your sidewalks off, that is needed. And also a reminder, it is illegal to push snow across the street onto your neighbor's property. There was a few of them, so. Ice skating, the outdoor rink has been flooded up there, and so that is open, and I think it's known that the hockey arena is open on Sundays for free. Other open skating, I believe at this time, will need to be paid for, but we are following up on that. So, Christmas tree drop-off site is over at the fire hall. The spring cleanup has been scheduled for April the 30th. Out at the airport, the air show, they are working on getting it scheduled. Tentatively, it is going to be September 10th or September 17th. So the date is going to move back from what it previously was. Fuel usage out there, last year we kind of seen a banner year. We sold like 16,000 gallons of fuel. Our normal 5-year average had been running right around 12,000. For 2021, we're probably going to be right around 14,000. And lastly, just a reminder to residents, especially residential customers, we just read water meters. First quarter is the quarter that we do set the sewer rates. So if you do want to conserve, first quarter is the period to do it in. So, any questions?
You said that you're working, well, you and I have talked about following up with the township on the open
Correct.
skating issue.
Yes, we are.
All right, and then can we talk about snow removal after the meeting?
Sure.
Okay, thanks.
I did forget to say, and I spoke with Ron about this too, that I did speak with the head of the golf course regarding sledding out there. I'm sure most of you are aware of the kerfluffle about that. And she did say that she would get back to me after the holiday, but that it isn't just a liability issue, it's that during the rest of the year and sometimes with sledding, some of the, what people are using, that it's becoming an issue where it's ripping up the green, and that obviously cuts down on their ability to bring in golfers. So she would discuss with me the possibility of the city kind of taking it over for the winter, but it isn't just a liability issue, so that's something we're gonna have to work on.
Okay.
Get that out in public.
All right, moving on then, we have our open forum. I don't see anybody here for that. Moving on then to the adoption of our consent agenda, which includes the minutes from the Public Works Board and Trail Board meetings listed on page 1, along with the vouchers on page 2 of the agenda, which total $215,616.97. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Soini. Adopt the consent agenda. Any discussion on that? None. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? None. That carries. All right. Chief, regarding the replacement of a fire truck.
Yes. It's been recommended by, what department did I meet with this last week?
Budget.
Budget and Finance. We go ahead with looking at purchasing a new truck to replace Unit 12.
In light of recent events, is that still the plan?
I think it still has to be.
Okay.
If something happens to change over the next, few weeks or whatever, when we get some numbers and stuff all put together, we'll revisit the situation, but don't.
What's going to happen to that truck once it's taken out of service?
I believe you're talking the old number 12?
Yeah.
That will end up going, correct me if I'm wrong, Jennifer, but it goes up for auction, is that correct? Surplus?
It'll be surplus and advertised for bids.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so we're looking at a motion to authorize bids and specifications for a new fire truck to replace number 12.
I'll make the motion to authorize Andy Sonny, Fire Chief, to obtain bids and specifications for a new fire truck.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion by Thune, seconded by Brick, to authorize the fire chief to obtain bids and specifications for a new fire truck. Any further discussion on that?
If you, the fund's a little short, but I believe the budget and finance decided if we need to take some out of the building fund, that's what we'll do with the intent to pay it back,
Okay.
just for information.
All right. And going forward, we need to talk long-term budgeting for these things.
Right. Yeah, it'll be the 2023 budget is what we'll have to revisit or visit when it comes time.
All right. No further discussion. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? None? Carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Gambling permit for Ducks Unlimited, they're on page 4. Looking for approval of the gambling application for Cronus Ducks Unlimited for bingo and raffle on February 5th at Queen Bee's.
I'll make the motion to approve Minnesota Lawful Gambling LG 220 application for exempt permit for Cronus Ducks Unlimited.
Second.
A motion by Soini, seconded by Hertzberg to approve the gambling application for the Cronus Ducks Unlimited as set in the action sheet. Any further discussion on that? None. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? None. That carries. Blake Avenue failure. Gentlemen, I know you were fighting about who gets to talk to us about it, so I'll let you.
I can start. As the council's aware, we've had some issues along Lake Avenue with the road starting to crack and actually slough away into, or start to settle due to some erosion and some instability in the bank along the Crow River. We've had several meetings in the past, and we recently met with Stearns County Soil and Water and the DNR and had a discussion with them about how we can obtain some funding or what corrections would be available. Obviously, it's the issues being caused by the river slope. So they brought up a couple different programs that they thought would be good programs to pursue funding for, as far as securing funding to fix the slope of the river to stabilize it. They are more than willing to help us do the applications to pursue that funding. However, in order to apply for funding, we need to have the design to a preliminary level. This is basically what they requested, and that's, the funding agencies are gonna wanna see a pretty good idea of what we're gonna wanna do if they fund the project. So in your packet is a letter that sort of outlines a very minimal amount of design work associated with doing the slope, pursuing the slope failure, with the goal of getting it to a point where we can pursue the funding programs that were recommended by the DNR and the Stearns County Soil and Water.
They also noted they want us to go, it's not just the immediate bank, they want us to go upstream probably, 250 feet roughly?
Probably at least that.
Yes. And funding for this would then come out of the Stormwater Utility Fund.
For the engineering.
Correct. Yes.
And engineering wouldn't be reimbursable from the legacy or any of that?
No. It's the way I
What
understood it.
percent of the project do you think we'll get funding for?
It's going to vary on what program. The Conservation Partnership Program, I think, funds it considerably more. I think as we get into further defining the cost of the project, and as they get into writing those applications, hopefully we'll have a better idea of what they feel we can secure for. And hopefully the goal is to not only just bring in the city for the matching funds, but hopefully we can trigger some funds through the DNR, the Stearns County, or the watershed as we get further along in this to help fix this problem.
And it's not gonna get any better or fix itself, so it kinda, I guess with that, I'll make the motion to approve Walton and Mink Incorporated preliminary engineering proposal, amount of $14,360.
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion by Hertzberg, seconded by Brick, to approve the Bolton and Mink Incorporated preliminary engineering proposal in the amount of $14,360. Any further discussion on that?
I just have a quick question.
Yeah.
That bank is real steep there. Is that, gonna be guardrails put up or something like that?
You know, part of the solution we're looking at doing, or we talked to the DNR and the Stearns County Soil and Water about, is actually doing what's called toewood along there and actually pushing, making that slope less
Yeah, okay.
severe and actually taking some from the other side of the river to keep the channel consistent. So that is one of the concepts. So hopefully that slope is less than what it is, but it would be
It's pretty severe.
potential that it might still need a guardrail depending on what that slope can get to.
Okay, that's all I had.
All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? None? That carries. Okay. Right, so the animal ordinance was brought to our attention that there were some inconsistencies in the ordinances. Policies and procedures took a look at it, recommended that we just make everything fit nicely by adopting some of the new language in, that's reflected there in the ordinance. This is informational unless somebody opposes its passage later. Okay. So we'll move on along to the investment policy. It was reviewed by Budget and Finance. That was the meeting I was not able to attend. Neil, I don't know if you have anything to add on this from that meeting?
Not really, I guess. Pretty well spelled out.
Yep. With that, we'd be looking for a motion to approve the investment policy.
I'll make the motion to approve City of Painesville investment policy.
Second.
I have a motion by Hertzberg, seconded by Soini to approve the investment policy as indicated on the action sheet. Any further discussion on that?
I guess the one thing, we wanted two people to sign and to help us on the audit, because that's an area that we've been gigged on before.
Okay. And that's reflected in here?
On quite a few, I was reading it the other, where it pretty much internal controls, I think it's under there.
Yep. So I saw it in there, so. All right, anything else? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? None? Carries. All right, potential for a working session next year. I'm gonna get one starting off, talking about a few things such as the zoning ordinance, the library, along with any ultimate overarching goals of the council. So probably if we're going to include all three of those things, we might need to plan for a 2-hour meeting.
Rob just mentioned too, going over some contracts with the townships, updating some of them.
I already have a bunch of meetings on the 11th, so might as well make it a full day, honestly. That day works for me. Otherwise, I don't think I have any conflict with any of them so far.
Wednesdays are no good for my schedule. Monday the 3rd, the 11th, and that Thursday should all work.
I'm open for any date.
Me too.
Neil, do you have any conflicts?
No, but I think I'd like to settle in. The 3rd and 5th seem awful early.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So I'm thinking the 13th maybe, huh?
May have to work the 13th. I'm not sure yet, but usually I do close on Thursdays.
We have some pull with the manager over there.
I don't.
Neil, was that a motion that you made?
It is.
Okay, so I have a motion by Hertzberg to set a working session for Thursday, January 13 at 6. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. We have one potential conflict, but any other discussion on that? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And that carries.
Seconded by Jean or Megan?
G.
Me.
Thank you.
All right, then going on to the wage study proposal from DDA. This is something that Tarek and I have been discussing a little bit. DDA is the company that helped us in the executive search when we hired Tarek. They also offer wage study services. One of the things that they do is what's called ongoing maintenance, which is on page 1 there, where they will review different departments or a set number of job descriptions every year. So instead of every 3 or 4 years where we do a full wage study for all city employees, we break it out and do some each and every year. So that means that each year we're approving revised things, making sure we're within our wage compliance, fair practices, things of that nature, and keeping us up to speed. It's also a little bit easier to budget because it's $4,000 per year instead of, I don't even remember what the last one was, 15 or something like that, all in one lump sum.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
In looking through this, it talks about starting with the police. I know when Tarek and I had talked, I think his intent was to have it start with the Public Works Department. We had a lot of discussions with the Public Works employees at the last study on some issues that they had with it, and ultimately decided we just needed to get this done. We thought we found a compromise, but I know there was some interest in pursuing that issue again and just making it, just revisiting it. So Tarek's thought was start with Public Works, probably do city admin the year after, and then the police, since we just signed a new police contract.
How long ago, it doesn't seem that long ago that we did a wage study.
We just approved it at the
That was-
beginning of last year.
That was with Baker Tilly, if I remember right.
Yep.
I mean, we can't be doing one every year or two. It's,
Well, and that was sort of the point of this, is it's not a full wage study.
okay.
So the last one we did, they finished it, we approved it in what, Jennifer, February or March of last year, thereabouts? But it was backdated to the beginning of 2019, because it was supposed to be done in 18.
And I guess the bottom line, we really aren't satisfied with that study,
Right, at least one department is not fully satisfied with it.
which is a shame for what a guy pays.
Yeah,
But, okay, I'm looking at this, the police, that's done, right?
right, yeah. I
So
think-
it's gonna cost us 6,500 or not necessarily?
No, it would be the ongoing maintenance, so it'd be the 4,000 per year, with the understanding that they're going to address, or they're going to tackle one area each year.
So it'd be a little over 4 by the time they're done.
Probably. As opposed to one lump sum of,
They're not gonna do the market analysis for the 12 positions? Or for half, or you're talking Public Works?
my understanding is that they're gonna break it down to essentially one department each year.
Okay.
So that's why it's, sort of looked at as an ongoing maintenance thing rather than an entire one. Tarek's the one who's been talking with them more so. He and I have just talked about it in passing. If we wanted to table this until he came back, I don't think that would be a problem.
And would this be starting in '23?
Nope, it would start in 22.
Because we're not budgeted for any, in '22.
Right, we probably want to start the wage study in 22 with an effective date of 23.
And I can live with that. This is just informational tonight, correct?
It was on for an action, but if we wanted to wait for Tarek to come back and talk about it some more, or look into any concerns, I think that would be fine. I don't think there's a
Yeah, I'd
deadline
like
on this
to
offer.
table it with more discussion and consideration.
Any opposition to that? Nope. Okay, so we'll bring that one back to our next meeting. All right. Then we'd be looking on to our next item, letter H, which is the contract between the city and Madden Galanter Hanson, Susan Hanson being our labor attorney. Slight hourly rate increase there. We'd be looking to approve her contract.
I'll make a motion to approve the consulting service contract between the city of Painesville and Madden, Galanter, Hanson LLP for 2022.
Second.
All right, I have a motion by Hertzberg, seconded by Brick, to approve the consultant services contract between the city and Madden Galanter Hanson LLP for 2022. Any discussion on that? None, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? None? That carries. All right, then we have the annual contract with Rudy Vigil for our cable consulting services. Kristen, if you're listening, could you pop up here real quick?
Here's that
Cheers. We had talked with Rudy a while ago about renegotiating the MediaCom contract.
Yeah.
Do you remember when that's coming up?
I think it's next year.
2023?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know if he plans to include that in his contracted rate?
I'm not sure.
It's never come up?
No, not between
Okay.
us,
All right, I was just curious if you'd ever mentioned something in passing or anything, so.
yeah. Yeah, not to me, so.
Okay, thank you. All right, so then we'd be looking to approve Rudy's contract.
It's nice to see something go down once, but I imagine we're getting less bang for our buck too, or just not
I don't think they've needed them as much
as much,
in recent years.
Yep.
right.
Yeah, I went and talked to Kristen for a little while today, because I had no idea what this guy did.
Yep.
She explained it quite in depth, what he does, that some of the equipment she said was older than her,
Yeah.
so.
I believe it.
Well, I know don't we videotape the parade? He's involved with that, and different things, the equipment, and basically Channel 8, correct?
Yep.
And with that, I'll make the motion to gladly approve Rudy Virgil's cable consulting services for 2022, amount of $1,500.
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion by Hertzberg, seconded by Thielen, to approve Rudy Vigil's cable consultant services, amount of $1,500. Any further discussion on that? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? None? That carries. City administrator contract is on here. This includes the terms that we discussed about with Tarek, along with, Tarek asked in drafting this, the deferred comp increase that was given to the department heads. That was something that we had not talked about. No, but I thought we could put in here for presentation to the council, along with paragraph 6, the payout of the PTO. The council had not talked about that, but again, that's something that the AFSCME contract shares, so it brings him in line with the other AFSCME benefits. We're not obligated to do those things, but I felt given how we had negotiated everything else, that that was probably safe to include for everyone's consideration here. So we'd be looking, if that's agreeable to everyone, we'd be looking for a motion to approve, otherwise some sort of counteroffer.
I'll move to approve the employment agreement between the city of Painesville and Tarek Al Rafai, city administrator.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Brick, seconded by Hertzberg, to approve the employment agreement between the city of Painesville and Tarek Al Rafai, city administrator. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? That carries. All right, with that, we have our informational, which includes our garbage rates, our meeting schedules, along with the investment and other reports that can be found on the city's website. And it being